Hello and welcome back to another video of Cobalt Core. Today we had Peri, Isaac, and books. You can go with the Ares here. Peri likes the Ares ship just because it's a small ship and you can swap cannons around, so it's very good for aggressive strategies with you don't have a lot of evade. Isaac also can make good use of the ship just because you only have a 4-wide ship instead of a 5-wide ship like the Artemis here. I did pick the Artemis just for the extra artifact options it provides. I hear just lose 1 max shield. You don't really have a lot of shield generating characters. Um, and I think remove 2 cards here is the optimal choice, just because both Isaac and Peri benefit from a thinner deck. A little bit with books as well if you try to go for books infinite. I opted to remove a card and get a common card just because I want to show case what happens when you don't get a totally optimal start. Glimmer Shot I think is what picked here because it's a decently strong card and it also thins out the deck for us in case we want to go towards more Peri or Isaac centric strategy. And here it's just use shield wisely and deal damage. This turn, I got rid of Unpolished Crystal to get Crystal Shard, and I also got rid of Corrupted Core. That's thinning my deck by essentially 2 cards. That just allows me to see the cards I want to see more often. Here I opted to use Glimmer Shot just because the fight was almost over, and I don't think I'd be able to use it again. It gave me an extra 2 damage. Okay, I am kind of struggling on evade here, so the Yurkon Zip is looking most appealing. Swift Swivel is also going to be nice as well. And let's see here. From here, just a debate on which side to go. I think bottom is probably what I'll end up doing just because it has 2 elites. Never mind, I went top crap. Yeah, just remove cards to make it a bit more thin. Here we have Soggins. So, Soggins just get in the way. Attack turn is a little bit dubious here just because you're dealing 1 damage to try to deal with a future problem. It's not the best solution. And here, I opted to save the turn shift because it wouldn't have changed anything. Yeah, moving everything off to the side. New strategy. Reason why I use multi-shot is because the first shot delete the missile, and then once the extra shot would do 1 damage. This essentially just removes the calculation. There we go. Pretty good turn. I wasted every single missile Saga had. This one, been trying to use Zircon Zip when I can, just because it helps save some evade. And from this point, I've kind of almost won this fight. There's not much you can do. You're gonna lose. Yeah, I am not guaranteed to win on this turn. I do have to destroy a missile. Toxic doesn't apply at all during this last phase at all, so. There we go, we saved Soggins. The choices here, you're pretty much always fine with just picking an artifact. The cards aren't too good. Although I will try to get a run with each of the cards at some point during this series. Yeah, I think something like Seeker Missile is probably better when you don't have Isaac on the team. That way you can still use mineral objects. Shaft emitters, it's okay. It's better the more evade you get. Yeah. Wispo here, one thing to keep in mind about using Crystal Shard is you don't want it to use, like... Okay, backing up. You don't want to use it when you have 0 energy because you could potentially draw a Toxic, which then will leave you with no resource to actually deal with the Toxic debuff. So it's a good way to lose a ton of hull, if not the fight. Like me, I could also say similar things as well with, like, if you had rigs on the team. Essentially, if you have something like Think Twice, I believe is what it's called, where you draw 3 cards for 1 energy. If that's your last energy, I don't recommend doing it because you could potentially draw into Toxic, and then again, you're just going to start losing hull each turn. And Magi Battery, that's just a pretty safe pickup. I don't have max, so that doesn't affect us too much. Let's see here, I believe I just ran into this Spike 2, I believe. The reason why it's called George is because of a story event that happens earlier on. Anyways, I think for now I'm just trying to get out of the way. Leaving Cobalt Core on purpose is a strategy you can do just to thicken your deck, so you draw safety overrides less often. Here I am taking the gamble that I will be able to get through the fight faster than Spike here can actually deal. And then the attack runes are also somewhat dubious, mainly because sometimes you can't get out of the way fast enough, so they will just end up dealing more damage. Here I use Zero Concept just to save and evade. That is one nice skill to have with this game, is trying to min-max your evade usage, because evade is insanely strong. Here, I'm tempting on just using Glimmer Shot and Lunge, just to deal a ton of damage. I don't know why I didn't use Lunge here, I could have dealt an extra damage. And here, with 3 hull left, I'm pretty confident I can beat this fight. Of course, I then immediately don't. Go 1 damage. I also got a little lucky. I was guaranteed to survive, but now I'm not left at 1 hull, I'm left at 4. That must be pretty good moving forward. Peri is a pretty decent card, just because you can deal a lot of damage. Although what it's looking like is I'm trying to rely on hooks. So that's probably what I'm thinking of. I'm not relying on Isaac too much, so I'm fine with just getting Missile thing. Missile Malware, I believe is what the effect is called. And then Piercer helps get through fights, especially this one. This is very interesting fight. Depending on how you look at it, you could say this enemy skills doesn't. It really depends on if you can deal with the Minesweepers. Otherwise, the best advice is try to use your evade as best as you can. If you can find a way to not use evade, that is the best way to get through any given fight. Cobalt Core, that's a pretty important card to get rid of just because you don't want, well, let me rephrase. You want to get stuff like basic dodge as fast as possible. There I opted to use Mage Hand just because having to do shield is decent enough with this fight, and it got me 3 damage. So it was a pretty decent trade. A little unfortunate that I drew Mage Hand. Again, I'm not sure why I didn't play it. I should have used it to gain the extra shield. I think it does help show that Cobalt Core as a game does have some leniency. You don't need to play perfectly. I know I asked the Discord for help with some of my runs when I struggled with getting a win for some of them. And then when the guy literally was able to win a run, was a completely different strategy than I did. Anyways. Escalate, that would be nice here if I wasn't trying to go for a book strategy, so I think I gave up on it. Same thing with multi-shot. Rock Factory's not that good here. It's okay, but I don't think it's helping us too much. It doesn't solve many problems. Here I use Attack Drone because I still take 1 damage regardless, but this way I don't gain any heat. Bean machine, there we go. If you're wondering what I'm doing for music is I have the soundtrack downloaded, so I'm just playing music for which encounter should be wit. That way it's my voiceover's not in complete silence. Do let me know in the comments below on if that's something people like or not. Yeah. The other thing about this fight is it does follow the same pattern every single time, so this is going to be every 3rd turn. This is every 1st turn, plus every 3 turns after that. It's going to be this 3 and 1. But this ship will not move between this turn and then the turn which has 4 damage. So that's one way you can help min-max the fight. I don't have a lot of draw, so average is not that good. And then I'm looking for mostly focus cards at this point. Wave control is pretty nice. I can get rid of parallel shift at this point. Getting a 0 cost basic dodge is also pretty nice. That way I can always play it. One thing that is a little bit interesting about this fight specifically is, well, not this fight, this run is, I have an interesting books build where, I didn't get the resources I needed, but I had to make do with what I was given. It should be moved left in Mage Hand. That was a completely unoptimal turn. What I should have done is I should have just Mage Hand, attack turn, and then move one to the left. Anyways, here, stuff like lunge and Zircon zip are going to get me out of the way. And I can also save my evade at the same time. Didn't use Mage Hand, I'm comfortable with my evade right now to get out of tricky situations. I should have used Zircon zip first. And here I'm surprised I opted to deal the damage. Yeah, I suppose this is a scaling enemy, so you need to get through fast. Here it said just utilize the shield. As I said, this is a scaling enemy, so at some point you can't really tank hits anymore. And with 7 holes to go, I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at. Here, it's unlikely that I'm going to use shield much after this fight. So might as well use the 1 shield now, try to deal extra damage. By saving the drone, I essentially will end dealing an extra damage next. Not that needed. Perfect specimen here, that is a great pull because I'm currently starving with shards. And that's a good way for me to get shards. Berserker Drive is not that, it's okay. I don't have the high aggression I would want to use it. Something like Glass can give a extra attack is pretty. Awesome. We're in Zone 2, so a lawless place for these fights. Crystal Shard, I'm not too interested in trying to use it for the max hull value. I think just being able to thin out my deck is going to be more important and then should hopefully save me hull in the long run. Okay. At this point, I kind of have won this fight. I should be able to scrounge up 1 damage in the next turn. Glimmer Shot, it's okay. It's already upgraded and it's retained, so if I don't want to use it, that's fine. It also makes it so if I do get a ton of shards right away, it is another just high damage. Space Bind is an okay defensive option. Wave Charge, I would not recommend going for Wave Charge. With that said, I am surprised I passed up on Glimmer Shot. I'm not sure what I was trying to do that turn. Okay, I think I figured out why I gave up on Glimmer Shot. It's mostly because that requires a lot of shards, and I'm also struggling on getting the shards I want for all my cards. So the main thing that I am doing in this run is trying to focus on what cards I want to play. Which is a good skill to have with this game, but understanding the value or pros and cons of not playing a card to save your resources is a pretty important skill to have. It will help you win runs that you would have otherwise lost. I should have played Crystal Shard first, just to see my options. I don't know why I didn't use Lunge there, just get out of the way without spending resources. Solar Breeze is essentially a free card. As a 0 cost and it draws itself. The community likes to call those cantrips. Essentially, you're just able to get a benefit and then the card replaces itself in your hand. It's very nice when you have sharp edges, and that way you can technically keep shuffling your deck. But that requires a small deck and a lot of cantrips. Or not necessarily a lot, but at least 2. You're off to destroy an asteroid to gain 1 shield. I think you're fine if you don't do that. And then for Sir Ratso, your goal here is if you do accept duel, you want to get down to 4 health. Or 4 hull. That's what I should say. So here I have 5 hull to go and 3 shield, so that's 8 attack. Sir Ratso as a character doesn't gain shield, if I remember correctly. So it's essentially 7 damage from here. Okay, 3 damage to go. We have 1 provided by our attack drone. There we go. 4 hull exactly. Again, Solar Breeze, it's a cantrip. I can move my attack drones around. Here I wonder what I'm going to do. I think removing something like basic shot probably what I'm going to do. Try to get 8 hand more often. Parallel Shift is another card you could think about getting. You already have wave control. Really, the cards I think about here is what cards I'm not using often, and that's the card I use. Yeah, basic block not a card too often, and I think Mage Hand is probably better here. Magi Padre kind of removes itself. The other thing I am also thinking about here is upgrading Unpolished Crystal just to get an extra shard using the A upgrade. I also realized I just went with the scaffold. It's okay. When enemies have like a single column attack, it's good to like dodge. With this fight, it's kind of hard to use. There are some turns like the previous one where you can scoot right just to avoid the column that stuns your evade for a little bit. The trade-off being you still get hit by one. Here I'm surprised I decided to take the engine stall. I came up with the solution that turn. Here scaffolding is a lot better. I can line up my ship. Yeah, line up my ship, deal damage, and also evade everything at the same time. Here I've essentially won already. Sapphire Shield's interesting in that it does provide me with shards. What's here? I honestly forgot why I was going to rule my stuff. I think that might have been power play. Okay, so in making of this video, I did have a pretty long run where I did pick up power play. Let's see here. Let's see what it's like. The issue is, I think I just barely wasn't able to get through quite quick enough because I didn't have enough aggro. That or I leaned too hard into a strategy and didn't have right balance. I wasn't able to. If I remember exactly what it was. I had too much sources of dealing damage and then scaling that damage, so sometimes I just had dead turns. With that said, this game, Hull is a resource. It only matters if you beat the game with a hull with that is 1 or greater. If you win with full hull or 1 hull, the game does not care. Unless you're doing daily challenges, but that was a blunder on my end. I should have used drone shift to move 1 to the left instead of going 2 to the right. Like, I mean, I suppose the scaffolding is providing decent value here, allowing me to dodge 1 hull. It's pretty good. here I am taking 3 damage. I somehow got killed there. Yeah. Think through your turns. That was my recommendation. Still, I'm pretty okay where we're at right now. The biggest issue right now is we have no evade. There, I did decide to sacrifice both my drones to block 1 damage. It also helps that if it gets Zircon Zip as well. So I guess I was blocking more than just 1 damage. Multi-shot, just get rid of the missile. Here I have lethal. You just move 2 to the left and then lunge. There we go. I almost ended my turn. But here. I do believe that gets me to top. Right here, I think I'm questioning what I actually want to pick up. Quantum Core is actually something I think is a decent pick here, just to help me with shards. Table flip, I don't know what I would flip for. Oh, I think that's for Solar Breeze, largely. Genesis canisters, I don't think is too good here. We do have the 1 extra energy source, but the rest is going to be hard to deal with. High frequency intercom, it's a little dubious. But it is the last boss artifact. Playing out my turns, I think I am going for the 3-column path. Don't know how many force card picks I'm going to have. The other thing with the Magi Battery B is it does lead to an infinite potentially. I don't think I get it this run though. Alright, so I can pick up 5 things. One other thing I am considering is just using Power Play. I do technically have the hold to use it. Playing it has 2 benefits. A, it makes all my attacks stronger, and it also thins out my deck. Might just be delaying a turn. No, I do decide to go for the kill. Or not the kill, the damage. And I suppose I'm ending my turn with 3 evade. I should be pretty happy. One nice thing I am liking about this run is each character is actually contributing. It's not like a Book's carry at all, or an Isaac carry. Let's see what I go for. I don't think there's a reason to ever upgrade Bay Overload. Or using it too much. Same with Solar Breeze. I think unpolished crystal is probably what I want here, just to get the extra shards. There we go, I called it. Healing, I think that's a pretty decent pickup, just because I have power play. Damage to get through fights is also usually the safe option. Evade is also decent as well. It's pretty hard to mess up on that choice. Losing this hole, however, is rough. Good power play and use the repairs. The reason why I did power play first is just to get max value. While yes, you could use the evaded road shift to save the drone, it's not worth it. Be able to do at least one, because sometimes one evade does save you from a lot of damage. Here, I kind of already won at this point. I just need to survive maybe one, maybe 2 turns. Yeah, one hole, it's pretty come up with 1 damage. Sharp edges, going through a deck pretty consistently. Adaptive plating only really helps with 1 hole. Upgrading Glimmer Shot, it is my main damage source, so I think going for Glimmer Shot A is okay. Short capacity is also a nice pickup as well, just because things like Glimmer Shot now get an extra 2 damage if I get power play, which is likely. It's an extra 3. Also allows me to hold more shards for when I want to use it for other cards like Zero Concept. It looks like scaffolding is actually pulling in some work. This would be a good time to play power play if I wanted to use it for this fight. Looks like I don't need it. Wait, did I pick up we can hold the card at some point? I'm trying to think of how I got a turtle there. My advice is try and line up Turtle with where you can actually reasonably park your ships. That's if you have the choice. If you don't have the choice, you should be able to move around enough to play around it. Okay, here we run into Duncan. Yeah, the reason why this fight is scary is because the scaffolding kind of hurts in that makes us have to move an extra amount. Luckily, we don't have Berserker Drive, so jumping is an extra bit of scary. It only scales up 1 damage per turn instead of 2. Yes, I did pick up something. Like, I mean, it's a decent card. Especially that I also have the draw and 2 extra cards. And I have an extra energy effect. 2 extra energy effects if you count last game. Here, I think the best place for something like Pinnacle would be that cannon right there. Just because it's the most out of the way. There, you might as well go with Mage Hand instead of Glimmer Shot A because it does the same thing, only you get an extra shield. So here we get to start to see the problems of not having enough shards to support your build. We have 3 Zircon Zips, and we played each of them only getting 1 of 8. Primarily because we just needed to move. If we had like a decent shard economy, we would be a lot happier right now. But given that isn't the case, that does present complications for our business. Oh yeah, that is a blunder. Yeah, Cobalt Core as the game does have some leniency built in. We will get to see on how much I rely on that leniency. I do also have a shop coming up afterwards, so I can also opt to just heal. Yeah, it's a little sad that I don't get to fully recover. But guy, you had lethal this turn. All I had to do was use multi-shot on one of the cannons, and then the drone would finish it off for me. Energy drone, it's pretty nice. Resonant fork, it's nice. Helps get a burst in shards. And yeah, here having high frequency intercom means you have a bigger deck, so the removals and the card upgrades are less impactful. Me healing the hull, I think, is worthwhile just because I want the buffer for any mistakes I make during this fight. And sometimes I won't make a mistake, and sometimes I will just have to take the damage regardless. But yeah, power play here I think is for sure worth it. Under normal circumstances, you are going to be taking a lot of damage. There we go, we take 2. Hold to spare. We almost got through the shield, so we're almost a quarter of the way through this fight. We can haul, I can understand putting it here. It's right on the edge, so if you need to leave, you're the closest to being able to do that. Here the damage is tempting, and it looks like I do go for it. You lose a hull for 6 damage. Not a great trade. It for sure doesn't keep up with the pace I need to actually deal with my problem. But hopefully it's enough. gaining an extra energy. Hopefully a 5 energy turn will help. At the very least, it helps me get rid of my trash cards. So 8 damage, that's pretty nice. I am taking the lethal right here, so I have to move. Going down to 1 of 8 is not good, especially with 25 hull remaining. I cannot heal that much. Here, I am largely just drawing to see what cards I do get. That's 12 damage. Here, I have almost... this will get me down to 1 hull. Now I just have to find a way to heal 1. There we go. That is the fight. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Leave a like if you liked the video. If you have any advice for how I can make these videos better, especially for post commentary, I know running music while I do this is a new thing I did, so if you like that, leave a comment. If you don't want to see it again, also let me know in the comments. Yeah, otherwise, it was a run where you did have to decide on if you wanted to use a postcard, because you don't get the option to not use the shards. If you can spend it, you have to spend the shard cost. Otherwise, yeah. Let's see here. What else did I want to say? This was just largely a case study of just being able to play your cards, basically. That's what this video largely is. Anyways, I hope you have a nice day. Take care.